Hey y'all. Okay, I wanted to have a short video on Module 1 just so I can kind of cover a little bit of information about Module 1 with you as I would if I were standing in front of you in the classroom. And so what I would like for us to do beginning is to take a look at the text. So all of you should have access to the first two chapters through PDF if you haven't gotten your textbook yet. And on that note, please consider sharing your textbook with someone else in the class. And that also means splitting the expense. I know that these are not inexpensive books, so please consider sharing and making your text available to someone else, maybe that's close by or someone you've met in the class. And be prepared to sell this textbook next semester because this same course is offered next semester here. And as you can tell, so back to Module 1. Whenever you're, and I'm kind of going to be going back and forth between my computer screen and the textbook. So whenever you go into Blackboard, you can click on the modules and you'll see Module 1, Curriculum Development and Perspective. The essential questions here, so what I want us to be thinking about is what is curriculum development? And that's just kind of the one big overlooming question. What are we talking about here? Curriculum, like how is informal curriculum developed and is it developed, and how you have encountered that or maybe been a part of that, as well as the formal. And then how could curriculum development apply to your work? So moving along, that's chapters 1 and 2 from your text, and the items to complete within the module are out on the outside of the folder for you. Discussion forum of 25 points, assignment 1, 100 points, and then a reflective journal entry of 25 points. So once you click on that module, it will open for you. And today, because I've added a lot of content today, you will see the required reading, which you already had access to, chapters 1 and 2 from the text, and just an outline of that to help you as you read through it. Then a framework for curriculum design. This is a linked article, and it's just an excerpt from another textbook that I've linked for you. 3 videos on curriculum development as a whole. A short video on what is curriculum, just an overview, kind of a definition of education terminology. And then a really short video on hidden curriculum, which hidden curriculum is not necessarily like informal curriculum, because the book, if you've read it all in the textbook yet, formal curriculum is as what we would think of as formal, like in a school classroom setting. Excuse me, but informal curriculum is learning and experiences that take place outside of the traditional classroom, which certainly add to the learner's overall knowledge base. So it might be vacation, I think the textbook says, summer camps, outside classes, even if it's something more like for fun, like maybe you've taken an archery class or art class. So that would be an informal type curriculum. But hidden curriculum is something completely different. So take a look at that little 1.5 to 2-minute video and see if you've ever even thought about hidden curriculum and where you might have experienced hidden curriculum in your own life through school or other organization. When you scroll on down through the module, you're going to see discussion board, or DB1, chapter 2, designs for development, and then you'll scroll on down, and if you click on the assignments, it will take you to the area to complete assignment 1. When you click, you get a full description of assignment 1, and you would submit by actually clicking on the words assignment 1, and you upload your PDF or your Word file. And then your course journal. Remember, this is a 2-part writing reflection. Reflection meaning after you're finished, you look back on something and tell us what you have learned or share. So back to what the essential questions that we talked about. What is curriculum development? So from your text, if you have already hopefully looked at the chapters 1 and 2, as I said, the book covers formal and informal education. This particular textbook is full of great graphs that help us. On page 10, I wanted just to draw your attention to the graph here, the circle graph. This little area in the middle where it comes into the informal education, formal education, education for life, and education for earning a living. Right here in the middle is what I'm going to say is where career tech education falls, because we work on education for living and for life and for earning a living. So in career and technical education, our focus is generally on helping others to obtain employment. And so workforce development and workforce readiness, all those things play a large part in developing the curriculum in career and technical education. But we don't leave out education for life. Like, toward the definition of curriculum is the next section you'll see. And a broad definition given by the book is the sum of learning activities and experiences that a student has under the direction of the school. Acceptance of this generic definition commits the curriculum developer, that would be you, to accept 2 additional supporting concepts. Please pay close attention to these. And that the first one is that the central focus of the curriculum is the learner. So all curriculum, no matter if it's formal setting curriculum, informal setting, your central focus should always be the learner. A second supporting concept has to do with the breadth of learning, experience, and activities associated with the curriculum. We got to know how much we're supposed to share and teach and what's appropriate. So again, you can apply that in any type of setting. If you keep your learner as the center of the focus, and how they can learn, what they're going to learn, will all be built around that. And then the depth and the breadth of how far you go with that. So you kind of have to know the big picture, break that down. How much is taught at what point and in which courses. So you have to know the breadth of what you're going over. The book goes into some co-curricular activities, which in Career Tech World we think are very important. You will see curriculum instruction mentioned. The instruction may be provided or perceived as the planned interaction between the instructors and the learner. And hopefully I love that the book says this, and hopefully that results in desirable learning. And so it doesn't always look like a lecture. It doesn't always look like me sitting in my chair recording myself talking to you, but it may be activities that you engage in. It may be outside readings. So hopefully it all results in desirable learning though. The book goes on to give you some characteristics of vocational and technical curriculum that may be different of how career and technical education is a little bit different from general education. So there are basic characteristics that we see, that we follow all the school standards and out of school success standards or institutional standards, be it if you're at a community college or wherever it may be. And then we also look at school and community relationships, the federal involvement through our funding, responsiveness, logistics of how the learning will take place, and the expense, because oftentimes we deal with very expensive equipment and labs, so we have to think about all of that. About how all curriculum should be future oriented and be global, and not just focused on one specific area and limited in time, but we should be thinking about how this will be used later. Finally, we get to Chapter 2, the Contemporary Designs for Curriculum Development, and this is where you're going to refer back to Chapter 2 for your discussion board and for your Assignment 1. So Chapter 2 goes over a systematic view of curriculum design, and it gives you several contemporary systems and outlines for designing curriculum. So with lots of charts and examples to go. But with the assignment, what I wanted you to do was to find an outside source besides the textbook, and then compare and contrast to one of these systems that is outlined in the text for you, to see if you find something different out there, and compare and contrast them. If for some reason you don't find an outside source for a curriculum framework, which you can do a Google search or anything to do that, there are multiples in the text. So I'm good with you using 2 from the same textbook and compare and contrasting there, but just make sure that you cite them appropriately. So that's pretty much the summation for Module 1. I quickly went through the chapters with you. Hopefully you've had time to read them. If you have questions or comments, or thanks guys. Bye.